containment of the virus and ultimately its extermination in future. Hence, it is clear that we should never rest on our oars as the virus keeps mutating and re-emerging in new forms.
The Federal High Court of Abuja on Friday granted the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, bail in the sum of 500 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. This was after the former governor had pleaded not guilty to the 19-count charges brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He is facing an alleged money laundering trial to the tune of 80 billion naira, but pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Correspondent Kolojo reports that when the case was called for hearing on Friday, counsel for the EFCC, Kemi Pinheiro, notified the court of the intention of the prosecution to withdraw an early application for abridgment of the earlier date fixed for arraignment. Ruling on the bail application, Justice Nwiti said, having listened to both parties, it is not in dispute that both counsels have filed application in respect of this. He granted the defendant 500 million naira bail with 2 sureties. The 2 sureties, according to the court, must be landed property owners within jurisdiction of this court, adding that they must swear to affidavit of means while the title dates of priority to be verified by the court registrar. The defendant was also asked to submit his international passport while he would remain at Kuje Correctional Center pending the perfection of the bail conditions. And now joining us, we have Kunle Edun-San, who is the former Publicity Secretary of Nigerian Bar Association, as well as Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who joins us from Lagos to speak on local government autonomy and the federal government's contempt suit against errant governors. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening.
Okay, all right. So the issue of local government autonomy has continued to drag despite the Supreme Court judgment. How would you react to the federal government threat of contempt on hearing governors?
Actually, I listened to my learned brother Sek, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, when he made that statement. As a matter of fact, city governors cannot be contempted because they have immunity. However, I understand very well the purport of his message, which is that that Section 7.1 of the Constitution, which provides for autonomy for the local government, and the Supreme Court judgment that also went a step further to also confirm financial autonomy for the local government, that with all these laws and judgment, should any state official, like the Attorney General of the state, Accountant General, and any other officer of the state, should they take any step in violating this judgment of the Supreme Court and the Constitution, that steps will be taken. Probably criminal proceedings will be taken against them. And I think I wholeheartedly agree with the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation in that regard. Because it's high time that we started doing something to ensure that the local government system does not enjoy only autonomy with regards to administration, but essentially financial autonomy, because we know what the state governors are doing with regards to funds, allocations that go to the local government. So it's a welcoming development that steps will be taken by the Office of the Honorable Attorney General to ensure that funds allocated to local governments are well spent and not tampered with or interfered with by state officials.
Right, so it's been more than 5 months after the judgment, and we still have some governors who still went ahead to conduct local government elections. Is this the right thing to do in a democratic setting?
As a matter of fact, all the states in the Federation, they all have the state electoral commissions that conduct local government elections. That is not necessarily illegal. It is okay. But we all know very well that most of the elections conducted by the various states, they are charade. They are not elections properly so called, because it's more or less like installing their cronies their process in the various local government councils. So those are not proper elections. Probably by the time INEC starts conducting elections for local government, then we'll start seeing re-elections be conducted at that level. But before INEC can do that, that means the constitution has to be amended to that effect to confer INEC that power. I understand that is what is presently going on with respect to the constitutional amendment process that is going on at the National Assembly. So the elections conducted by the state government for now, I do not have any issue with that, except that they are all charade.
We really thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the subject at this time. Thank you so much for being part of Galaxy TV News.
Thank you.
All right, that's Kunle, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a former Publicity Secretary of Nigerian Bar Association. Also still joining us to talk about the local government autonomy and the federal government contempt suit against governors who don't comply is Barrister Yomi Ogunlola, who is a legal practitioner, rights activist and social crusader. He joins us live from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, all right. So this step that the judiciary has taken, what impact do you think the action would have on political and legal landscape of our country if the federal government goes ahead with its warnings?
Did you see I laughed? It's just one of those things, you know, when old men decide to play some games. I laugh because, like my brother said earlier, I will be very happy to see Lateef Fagbemi putting governors who are covered by I think he just trying to get disorder. The truth of the matter is this: a man erroneously plants an orange seed, and when it blossoms and germinates, it brings up oranges when he had intended to plant a mango seed. What do you then do if you are in such a situation? What the Nigerian government is doing is going on the trees and plucking off the oranges, applying chemicals to the stalks, and expecting mangoes to come there from. It's not possible. You must go to the root of the problem. And what I see as the root of the problem, it is a constitutional contradictions, or rather the constitutional contradictions. Those are the things they need to go after. For instance, Section 2, subsection 2 of the Constitution talks about the party to the federal system, that is the government and the states and Abuja. And then you go to Section 162, subsection 3, which talks about the sharing formula, and then it brings in the local governments. That is, the revenue accruing to the federation will be shared between the federal, the states, and of course, the local government. So you ask yourself, what exactly are we talking about? Are we in a federation of two parties, that is the states and the federal government, or a tripartite agreement where you have the federal government, the states, and the local governments? If you go to Section 162, subsection 6 of the Constitution, it says that each state shall maintain special accounts to be called joint state joint local government account, into which shall be paid all allocations to the head to the local government councils. And then Section 162, subsection 8 says the amount standing to the credit of local government councils of the states shall be distributed among the local government councils on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly of that state. Now, go to section 7, subsection 1, which guarantees democratically elected local government councils. It goes further to provide that the government of every state shall ensure the existence of local governments under a law that will provide for their establishment, for their structure, for their composition, for their finance, and for their functions. And of course, those functions, yes, will be determined in line with the 4th schedule to the Constitution. Section 7, subsection 6b provides that the House of Assembly shall make provisions for distributing statutory allocations of public revenue to local government councils within the state. So what are we talking about? They are a bundle of contradictions with the Supreme Court judgment. What should we do? The supremacy of the Constitution is guaranteed under the Constitution. Section 1, subsection 1 provides that its provisions shall have binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Supreme Court of Nigeria.
Barrister Ogolola, okay, understood, but we know that humans are creatures of habit, and it might be difficult for governors to relinquish the control they've had over local government assets for decades now. So what would be your advice to both parties, that is the state governors and even the federal government, to make sure that this is executed? Because we've always been having policy, but the action is always what's missing. So what would be your advice to both parties?
Thank you very much. You see, there is the other angle to the story. There is mutual suspicion. The states are suspecting the federal government of wanting to take control of the local government. All right? And of course, the federal government has come out and said, let the local government breathe. It is altruistic enough. It is good enough. But we must do the needful first. We have to go back to the ground norm and amend the Constitution to reflect what we want to do. Otherwise, we're just wasting time. Look at what has happened in Anambra, and many others will take after it. They have made a law now creating their own state joint local government account into which all of those revenues will become. And there are so many other provisions there that are inconsistent with what the Supreme Court decided and what Lateef Fagbemi is talking about. So we are going to continue to have problems, except we go back to the National Assembly and amend the ground norm to reflect what we want. Otherwise, it is just another charade, like my brother said.
All right, we really thank you so much for your vast contribution on our news at this time. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
All right, that's Yomi Ogunlola. He's a legal practitioner, rights activist, and social crusader who joined us live from Ibadan, Oyo State capital. Now, moving on to other stories. In the bid to strengthen security in Nigeria, Conrad Adenos Tiftung, in collaboration with the House of Representatives Committee and Army, organized a training seminar for personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps across the Federation. Galaxy TV, Sigland Warangil Muzaka, has more in this report.
The two-day training and capacity building workshop organized for the officers of the NSCDC by Conrad Adenos Tiftung, a Germany-based foundation in collaboration with the House of Representatives Committee on Army, took off in Lagos State. The capacity building workshop was focused on interagency cooperation and collaboration with special focus on conflict resolution as a veritable tool in building bridges with other security agencies, civil society organizations, and the civil populace. The resident representatives of Conrad Adenos Tiftung, Nigeria, Ms. Marija Peron, in her opening remarks said the seminar was organized as a result of how crucial and important interagency cooperation is in addressing complex security challenges.
Interagency collaboration and coordination are crucial for addressing complex security challenges as we see them today. This workshop can foster better understanding and cooperation amongst different agencies, leading to more effective and unified responses to security threats. 2, we're looking into conflict resolution skills and alternative dispute resolution, which in short we say ADR. Techniques such as mediation and negotiation are essential for resolving conflicts without resorting to litigation.
The opening remarks of the Commandant General, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar, was represented by the Lagos State Commandant Adedotun Keshinro, expressed joy for the timely workshop, while also stating that in strengthening ties as security personnel with other security agencies and the citizens, the impact of capacity building cannot be overstated.
This is very essential for us to be able to achieve our objective in the areas of critical infrastructure and national asset protection, because this is not an effort that we can do alone. We have to work with various communities, we have to work with other citizens of the country, and we have to work with other security agencies. So whenever there is conflict in the course of doing our job, which is inevitable, so our personnel are being built, we are building their capacity so that they will be able to handle those issues effectively well.
The officers were also encouraged to build trust, foster open communication, and demonstrate empathy with other security agencies so as to fulfill its core mandate and provide effective security to the nation. Nenwarangil Mazaka, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission (NIPC) has revealed that it is focused on retaining existing investors by ensuring their concerns are addressed promptly and efficiently. This is Executive Director of the agency said in part of the Commission's broader strategy to align with President Tinubu's goal of stabilizing the economy and improving Nigeria's global competitiveness. Executive Secretary of NIPC, Aisha Rimi, was speaking during an interactive session with journalists in Abuja on Friday. Rimi stated that the Commission has adopted a robust investor relations strategy to keep the lines of communication open with businesses currently operating in Nigeria.
Of attracting new investments. You know, they say charity begins at home, so we're very focused on retaining existing investors who are already in the country. So we make sure that we address their concerns promptly and effectively. This is all part of our broader strategy, again, to stabilize the economy and improve Nigeria's global competitiveness.
While projecting the future, the Executive Secretary stressed that NIPC is committed to launching several initiatives aimed at driving further economic growth through investment. She added that the initiative align with 8-point agenda and are designed to accelerate Nigeria's progress across multiple sectors.
NIPC is committed to launching numerous initiatives aimed at driving further economic growth through investment. Innovation and technology, as we know, is very important, and so we're strategizing to position Nigeria as a hub for innovation and technology investments by promoting sectors such as fintech, agri-tech, and renewable energy. We will also advocate for incentives that attract tech-based companies looking to establish in Nigeria.
Now we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. So far, the DRC has recorded 406 cases of the undiagnosed disease. Several cases have been reported among including 31 deaths, mostly children. The spread of the disease is currently concentrated in the Panzi district in Congo province, located about 700 kilometers from the capital Kinshasa. Panzi district is remote with difficult-to-access roads and nearly non-existent health infrastructure. Health officials say the disease is most likely to be an already known illness rather than a brand new one, but they still don't know which one. Reports of outbreak with fatalities crop up somewhere in the world several times a year. Almost all turn out to be an already well-known infection with limited global consequences, said Paul Hunter, an epidemiologist at the University of East Anglia. The diagnosed disease causes flu-like symptoms of fever, headache, cough and anemia. That's why the World Health Organization also believes the unidentified disease will most likely be traced back to already known causes. And that's it for now, but do join us at 9 p.m. for our prime time news. My name is Eribami Salako. See you at 9.